Hi, folks. This is Danny Almon of AlmonTravel. We've been in business since 2003, so a little over 17 years. And in that time, we've never encountered what we are going through right now, which is basically, travel coming to a complete standstill. However, I think, many of us, certainly in the travel business, and I'm sure many of you as well, are looking at and hoping for an end to this this COVID situation. And there seem to be some good points for us to consider, I guess, as time goes on. Our specialties with AlmonTravel are destination weddings. That translates for the CARP membership anyway into perhaps extended families, vacations, and small groups there. We have a lot of experience with groups. We also specialize in Florida travel, but mostly from the perspective of theme park visitations and again extended family vacations. With destination weddings, a lot of Caribbean or Caribbean area destinations for individual vacations certainly can help you out there. And of course, cruises, both ocean cruises and river cruises. And Viking, if you're familiar with them at all, does both very, very well. We've done, the major ocean cruises that are popular amongst travelers. And we've also done a total of 10 different river cruise itineraries from different parts of the world. So we do have a fair bit of personal experience with that, and certainly would love to help you plan any river cruises or ocean cruises that you may be considering. Travel conditions now, while here in the Atlantic bubble, we're keeping COVID at bay. We still have hotspots that we have to be very, very careful about. And of course, the rest of the world is completely beyond our control. So obviously, we want to make sure that we're safe when we're traveling. And Jordana of Viking together with me this evening will be talking about how Viking is doing its best to make sure that they keep you safe. So the plan for travel, when we started this, it was just before COVID hit, and of course everything that we had started to work on was put on hold. I also want to mention our relationship with CARP. We have been selected by CARP Nova Scotia to be their official travel agency. So we are representing CARP membership in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and PEI. So we will be coming up with a variety of specials that we certainly would encourage you to keep your eye open for. This is the 7th presentation of about 18 up to this point planned, which occur at 6:30 every Tuesday. So please go to the CARP website and check out what our offerings are. And I would also encourage you, if there's something that you're particularly interested in, that's generally a popular itinerary, but it's not amongst the presentations, please feel free to get in touch with me. Bill Van Gorder is the COO and Chief Policy Officer for CARP National, as well as the founding chair for CARP Nova Scotia and senior spokesperson for CARP in the Maritimes. Bill and I go back a number of years. He was the founding father, or one of the founding fathers, for a charitable organization that I was on the board for, 100 Men Who Give a Damn. We raised $350,000, and all of it went to local charitable institutions. Bill, along with one other gentleman, was largely responsible for that. We've also booked Bill and his wife Esther on several trips, our river cruise and also a Rocky Mountaineer train ride in the Rockies. So I'd like to take a moment right now and introduce you to our presenter today, Jordana Bodding. She is the Director of Business Development for Eastern Canada, and she'll be starting her presentation. Jordana?
Thanks so much, Danny. Hi, everyone. As Danny mentioned, my name's Jordana, and my job with Viking is to work with our amazing travel partners like Danny there to bring the world of Viking to our mutual clients, you. A little bit of history about me. I've been in the cruise industry for 20 years, and I've been on over 70 cruises myself, anywhere from a 30-passenger yacht to a 5,000-passenger mega ship. But What I really love about working for Viking is we believe a trip is more than just a trip. It should be a doorway to cultural enrichment and personal incitement. And we also believe the best way to do that is by the rivers, the oceans, and now the Great Lakes. So for those of you who have sailed Viking, thanks for joining. For those of you who have not, let me give you a little history about who we are. So we were started over 23 years ago on the rivers of Russia, pretty much creating the modern river cruise industry as we know it today. Our motto is we want our clients to explore the world in comfort. So we took that model, we carried it all throughout our river product, and in 2015, we reinvented ocean cruising by offering that same destination-focused cruising as we offer on the rivers, on the oceans. And this has led us to become the top-rated small ship ocean cruise line. After leading the river industry for over 2 decades, we are now reinventing our new destination-focused cruising, and we're taking it to the far reaches of the globe with Viking Expedition. We're bringing them close to home on the Great Lakes. You can pretty much say we have mastered small ship cruising at Viking. While much of cruising is about bigger and more theme park attractions on board their ships, we are taking a different approach by focusing on the destination and the cultures of the destination we travel to. So we have created all of our cruises for that curious traveler. So if you are that person that wants to get into those intimate nuances of the destination and you're interested in learning about the history, the culture, and the geography, Viking is the way to go. Our elegant and thoughtfully designed engineered ships have all the amenities of a fine hotel, and only having to unpack once really makes it a great way to explore a new destination. And we also provide a cruise fare that is going to include everything you will need on your journey. So from meals to beverages to Wi-Fi, even a free shore excursion at every port of call. So our shore excursions, they're guided by expert guides in Egypt. We have Egyptologists on board of our ships. So it will really get you to know that destination. Now, you combine that all with our award-winning crew who will meet your expectations. You are going to be exploring the world in comfort. So today, we are going to travel together virtually to Egypt. So the Viking way of exploration offers behind the scenes insights that most other travel companies don't offer. Our shore excursions are carefully designed by expert tour planners to provide a perfect overview of the must-see and cultural highlights. They are professional English-speaking guides that are from there. They know they will give you that insider's view of the country, the culture, and they will be able to bring you closer to the art, the architecture. We also include on the shore excursions trips to the expected and iconic, like to renowned museums and notable landmarks, but we also go beyond by offering what we call local life, working world, and privilege access experiences. So let's take a look at a couple. So a local life experience may be an experience where you will go to the Grand Bazaar, the souk that is in Cairo, followed by a local dinner. Or maybe you want to sail in a traditional felucca along the Nile. Working World's great. We will bring you into the Aswan Dam where you can learn all about this incredible dam that has changed the lives along the Nile. And then we offer privilege access. So what privilege access is opportunities that Viking has that a lot of other tour companies don't offer. So our privilege access is an incredible access where you can, I'll talk about it in more detail, but you get to see the Queen Nefertari's tomb. So I'll talk about that in more detail. So what is going to be included in your cruise fare? As I mentioned, we don't want you to open your wallet anytime you want a glass of wine, a shore excursion, maybe a coffee. Instead, our goal is to provide you that cruise fare that is included of everything. So you're going to get your shore excursion, all of your onboard meals. We serve beer and wine at lunch and dinner. Bottled water is always replenished daily in your stateroom. Free Wi-Fi on board of our ships. First class hotels that, because you're doing an incredible cruise tour in Egypt and it's always going to be first class hotels. And all of the taxes and port charges are included. So when you work out pricing with Danny, he will give you an all-inclusive price. So, which works great because you know you're not going to have anything pop up on you. So today we are going to experience one of history's greatest civilizations that emerged along the banks of the Nile. So during our 12-day cruise tour, you will discover the secrets of this fascinating country, and our expert Egyptologist will take you through this country's history throughout the journey. So let's do some key features of this itinerary. So here's the map. We have an 8-day cruise. It will be included in your cruise fare with a Riverview stateroom. You will also get 3 nights at the Sheraton Cairo or the Ritz-Carlton Cairo, something similar. You will also enjoy 11 guided tours that are included by our Egyptologist. You will see 4 UNESCO heritage sites. It will include the 2 intra-Egypt flights. So you're going to have to take a flight to Cairo to Luxor, where you board our ship. And then, of course, you're going to get the cultural highlights. So you will enjoy in-depth narration of our Egyptologist guides. And you'll be able to attend an incredible event on board of our ships. We actually have a great Nubian evening on board. So let's dive in. We are going to day 1. Day 1, we are arriving in Cairo. It's an exhilarating capital. This city's pulsing. It's an historic city. It was made prosperous over millennia as a stopover for the Sahara caravans on the trade routes to the Byzantium. So we will transfer you, if you get your flights with Viking, we will transfer you from the hotel to the airport for your night stay. So let's talk about Cairo. So Cairo is actually 2 islands, which are linked to the mainland by a bridge. So Cairo is the largest city. So you can see the bridges that are pictured there. It's got a great view of Cairo. Now, what's neat about Cairo, it's the largest city in the Middle East and in Africa. Much of Cairo is very modern. It has wide streets. There is traffic on the wide streets, but it is a busy city. It's got incredible mosques, palaces that you're going to get to experience. So let's dive into what's going to happen. So depending on what time you arrive, you might have some free time on day 1. So day 2 is when we start really getting into our incredible journey. And the first journey is you're going to see the Egyptian pyramids. So the Egyptian pyramids, a little history, they were built as a tomb for dead pharaohs. There is actually over 100 different Egyptian pyramids, and most of them were built during the Old and the Middle Kingdom periods. So the best known pyramids of Egypt are the Giza pyramids, and I think they're recognized among the largest structures ever built, and they're also a monument that's part of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So on day 2, what are we going to do? We are going to take an excursion to the necropolis Saqqara. This is where you're going to see the step pyramid, which is pictured here. You'll get to go through the grounds. You'll have time to experience it. Then after lunch is when we're going to head to the Giza Plateau. And this is where you're going to see the 3 Giza pyramids, the Khufu, Khafre, and the Menkaure. And it's incredible to experience these pyramids. I personally got to experience them, and they're absolutely breathtaking. But what's neat, if you do it with Viking, we will actually, you get a camel tour. So not only do you get to explore the pyramids, you get to explore them on camelback too as well. Also in the same site as the Giza Plateau area, you get to see the incredible Sphinx, forever facing due east. And unfortunately, he lost his nose due to Napoleon. Apparently the rumor is Napoleon had a little slingshot and shot off the poor Sphinx nose, but it's a great picture to have. One of the must to take while you're in Egypt itself. So day 3, you're going to come back to the hotel on day 2. You have dinner at the hotel. You might have dinner ashore. You might go out for dinner. It depends on you. Day 3, today is when you're going to get to see the fascinating sights of Cairo unfold before you. So you'll get to see the incredible sprawling citadel of the mountain, the mosque of Muhammad Ali, and then we take you to, I think this it's up there with my top museums, the Museum of Egyptian Antiquities. They have a huge collection of artifacts, but what they're known for is the famous display of all the riches of Mr. King Tut. So you get to go in there and you get to experience, you get to go through and you get to see the incredible pieces from King Tut. Now later, you have the afternoon at your own, so you can decide to do your own interests. And Danny's going to come on in a minute and talk about what you can do. But I always strongly recommend, especially in Cairo, work with Danny to book an excursion prior to even going. So we have optional excursions, one that will take you to the famous outdoor souk that Danny's going to talk about. We have a guide that will take you through, give you a great orientation. Followed by that, we'll go to an incredible Egyptian dinner at a local restaurant. So Danny, let's bring you back up. Let's talk about your experience at the souk and Cairo and all that fun stuff.
Well, certainly, I was looking at the picture of the gentleman on the camel there, and I would caution people it's going to be a fantastic opportunity. But I recall my sister-in-law getting on the camel when we were there, which was a fair while ago now. And I don't know how she was not pitched off the front of the camel, the angle that they get up. So do watch how that happens and make sure you brace yourself properly. But it's a tremendous experience.
And one thing, sorry to interrupt about the camel, because you just reminded me, make sure you do the camel tour with Viking, because there's people with camels around the pyramids that aren't the friendliest people. So make sure you stick with the Viking tour. That's my word of advice.
And I would build on that too, Jordana, in the sense that Egypt is a very busy place. Cairo is extremely busy. The idea of going out and wandering around, which might be something that would be of great interest to somebody who's doing a river cruise in Europe, for example, is probably not the best thing to do. Not something I would personally do. I definitely would arrange to have a knowledgeable guide through Viking to take you around. The pyramid itself, I was in Egypt when I was starting to have knee problems, and one of the pyramids has an entrance that you can actually go into the middle of the pyramid. It is, you have to bend over the whole time though, so I figured my knee would not hold up for doing that, but it's definitely worthwhile having a look at. Was watching from our big bus driving in downtown Cairo. I think there were 3 lanes, but I think there were between 6 and 7 lanes of actual traffic. And I recall being in the bus, big is good. I remember a small truck just trying to edge his way out in front of the bus, and the bus just clipped him. So you're not going to have the give and take that you're going to be used to in your hometown or home city, and that's another reason why it's much better to be with somebody who's very knowledgeable about the area. Museum, the best piece of advice I can give you for the museum is leave King Tut to the last. It is so overpoweringly fantastic that for me, it just dimmed everything else I saw in the museum. So go see everything else first, which deserves your awe, but then save King Tut for the last, because his exhibit will just mesmerize you. So I think that's pretty well it, Jordana.
Perfect. All right, so day 3, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have dinner, and then day 4, we're going to wake up. Now, day 4, we have an early morning flight to Luxor. So you're going to board your bus. We'll take you to the airport. We'll board our intra-Egyptian flight to Luxor. When we arrive in Luxor, we are going to the ancient city of Thebes to visit. It's beautifully set on the Nile. But this is where we're going to bring history to life with our Egyptologists. So we are going to the temples of Luxor and Karnak here. So these were long buried beneath the desert. You are going to get to walk across these incredible monumental peristyles and the obelisks. You will also see ancient hieroglyphics that will hint at the beliefs and the lifestyle of the Egyptians at the time. And what's really neat is our Egyptologists, as you're walking through these sites, they are going to bring it to life. So on a Viking tour, one thing I do want to talk about is you will get what we call whisper quiet headsets. So you will have a headset in as you're going through the tour, so you will always hear the guide. So you will be able to kind of go off and look at other things as you're still listening to the incredible stories that the guide is telling you. So after we tour the Temple of Luxor and Karnak, we are going to get to our ship. So we're going to proceed to the Nile. We're going to board on board of our ship. You're going to get an incredible lunch on board. And then afterwards, you may want to join an excursion to the Luxor Library and the Heritage Center that's there. It's an incredible area. They have the city's past. It's really preserved in these engaging exhibits as you're going to go through. Dinner is going to be held on board the ship that night, so we'll bring you back on board for dinner on day 4. Day 5, you're going to wake up in Luxor. Now, this is one of, I have to say, the most incredible experiences. So, and if this is something you really want to do, work with Danny before doing it. So you have a choice this day. You can just hang out on board the ship and relax on breakfast. Or, weather permitting, we do this incredible early morning hot air balloon ride over the Luxor temples and the monuments. So you'll be able to get to marvel at the incredible breathtaking views of this incredible ancient city. You'll see the desert surrounding it, and of course the magnificent Nile. After the morning, later, we are going to head over to the Nile's west bank to visit the Valley of the Kings. Now, this is where the ancient pharaohs were embalmed deep in the hillsides, and the Valley of the Queens. Now, the Valley of the Kings is amazing, and Danny, you have been there, haven't you?
Yes, it was amazing. Some of the tombs, you have to climb up a lot of steps, so you have to be in reasonably good shape for that. But once you get into the tombs, the hieroglyphs, the paintings are absolutely amazing. I strongly suggest that, you know, if Egypt is on your bucket list, you want to do that fairly soon, because even back, you know, 7 or 8 years ago, what experts were noticing is that the number of people who that's distracting. Go into the tombs. It's a very dry atmosphere, but all of the breath that's full of moisture from all of the people visiting it's causing the paint to flake. So they'll be doing one of 2 things, I think. They'll either limit the number of people that can go to that, or they'll actually shut it down until conservationists are able to get in and ensure that there's no damage.
Well, you queued me up for my next slide.
Yeah, the big problem, of course, is there are so many sites and not enough money to service them. So yeah, it's a definite highlight of the cruise for sure.
So you just brought me up to my next slide, because that is very important, because they're limiting to people into these tombs, and some of them you're not going to get a chance to visit. But what's great about Viking is, as I mentioned, we have our privilege access tours. So one of our privilege access tour is to see a tomb that is not open to the public of the masses, let's just say. So it's Queen Nefertari. Now, who is she? She is the great royal wife of Ramesses the Great. Her name means beautiful companion, and this tomb itself is exquisitely preserved. It is one of the best preserved tombs. There's only, as I mentioned, a very, very limited amount of people that get to go into this tomb. Reason why Danny explained it is they are starting to lose some of the hieroglyphics, some of the images. Along with this tour that you're going to see of Queen Nefertari, we will also take you to the mortuary temple of Queen Hatshepsut. So I can never say her name, it tongue ties me. Help me out, Danny.
Yeah.
She has a great story, though. I always remember her story because she is a very impressive woman. She is actually one of Egypt's few female pharaohs, and she was actually the most successful pharaoh out there. So you get to go and you get to hear all of her story. She has a great story to be told. So not only you get to see two of probably the most powerful ladies you get to visit their tomb. So that's an incredible stop. Next, we are going to return to our ship. So we will return on board. We are going to our next stop, Kina. But what's neat is lunch and dinner is going to be served along on board as we're sailing along the Nile. And when we do these sails, it's going to be interesting because our clients, well, yourself gets to enjoy our Egyptologists. So this is when we bring on guest speakers. We'll also bring on local entertainment on board the ship as we're sailing. So remember, our goal at Viking is to connect you with that destination in every possible way. So day 6, we're in Kina, Egypt. This morning's excursion, it's going to take you to the sprawling complex of Dendera. Here you are going to definitely be taken back into the time of the pharaohs. This is one of Egypt's best preserved temple complexes. It's located on the west bank of the Nile, just right on the edge of the desert. And this massive complex actually dates back to the 14th century. Archaeologists have actually dated it back even further to 22 BC. And I was mentioning this to Danny before we even started, is what amazes me about going to Egypt is to know and see all of this architecture that was done all by man's hands. There was no machinery doing any of this stuff. So you're going to go visit the main temple, Hathor. Now, this temple was admired by many of the Ptolemaic Egyptians. They have incredible art. The chambers are unbelievable, but what's neat is the Dendera zodiac. So it's a zodiac that is a sculpture from the Greco-Roman area, and it maps the sky, the ancient sky at that time. But what's neat about this is it's not the original. The original was actually taken out in 1820, and the original is actually sitting in the Louvre in France. So this is a replica that you're going to get to see. But once again, when you go on this tour, you're going to learn all about it, and that's what makes this tour one of my most interesting tours that I think we do, especially for my history fans. So day 7, we're going to Enza. This is an interesting city because at one point, it was a really important center for trade. It was under the Greek and Romans at that time. And today it is a very quiet farming town. But what's neat about it being a farming town, they have a lively market. But today's tour, what's going to happen is we're going to take you to the Temple of Kom Ombo. This temple has a 1st century hypal style hall. So as you can see in here, they have 24 columns. They're 6 across and 4 deep. And each one of these columns, it's really neat too. And when you're going through Egypt, this is the key thing when you're going through all these temples, is the amazing hieroglyphics. So each one of these columns has an intricate flower as you're going through it. So we are going to take you through the hieroglyphics here, depict Roman empires making offerings to the gods. Our guided tour will bring you back to that day. And then afterwards, you have a choice to do 2 things. You can hang out at the temple and explore it a little bit more, but this is what I would highly recommend is join the guide. We will take you into the little village for a full tour of the town, and you'll get to see that incredible market. So it's a covered air market. They have a whole bunch of different things, spices and stuff that you get to sample. This is a great place too if you're looking to buy that incredible bright tapestry. All of that stuff is going to be sold at this incredible market on day 7. Now, day 8 and day 9, we're in Aswan. So we're going to wake up in the morning. This city is a bustling city. It's a busy city. This is where you can either choose. It's a working world excursion to the high dam that's there. And it's an incredible dam. It's a high dam that is right on the border of Egypt and Sudan. And it has been actually fed by the Nile River itself. And the reservoir itself forms Lake Nasser. Now, you'll be able to learn all about what this dam has done. On top of that, you'll get to enjoy a traditional felucca ride, which is the traditional Egyptian wooden boat. So you get to enjoy a ride on that. And then we will take you back into Aswan to the incredible local market. So this is another incredible local market experience that you get to do. We do have an optional excursion to Abu Simbel. This is the Great Temple of Ramesses II. I am going to bring up Danny because he's been there and he enjoyed this temple to talk about the incredible temple of Abu Simbel. Danny.
Yes, they're tied together with the dam that you were just talking about, the Aswan Dam. As they were building that, there was going to be a tremendous area that was going to be flooded. And in fact, there were quite a few Egyptian temples that they weren't able to do anything about. They're 100 feet below the surface. But they decided that they wanted to save this Abu Simbel, tomb to Ramesses II. So they cut everything into blocks and then transferred it to an area that would not be flooded. And it is just absolutely amazing. You can see from the picture there the size of the statues because the people are minuscule compared to that. And there's another, right next to that, there is another demonstration. I believe it is for Nefertari. And it's stunning as well. I have pictures of my wife being dwarfed by those statues as well. The felucca sailing it was very notable because these boats have been around for thousands of years. But the other thing that I particularly note, and certainly you should make sure that you take some time on the cruise to get up on top of the deck and to just watch the riverbanks of the Nile, because in some parts you'll see greenery for about 100 meters, and then you see the desert beyond that. So it's really quite amazing. Back to you, Jordana.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, you know what I love about the Abu Simbel temple is how Ramesses built the 4 huge statues. They're all of him, and then the little statues that you see on the bottom are his wife's statues, and his wife's and his daughters. So it explains a lot about that time. All right, so let's dive into day 9. So, let me finish day 8 because we actually have an optional excursion. This is an overnight stay. We overnight stay in this port. So we have an optional excursion that will take you to the most incredible light show. So the Philae Temple, one of the greatest temples. Now, this temple was created by King Ptolemy. It was another temple that they had to move because of the flooding of the dam. We can take you there at night, and there is this incredible light show that is all set up along the temple and talks about the history of the gods and the goddesses that are the legend of this temple itself. Now, don't worry if you don't want to do the evening light show. We will, the next day, take you there. So on day 9, after breakfast, we are going to go, you can go explore the temple. But what's neat after exploring the temple is we're going to bring you into the Nubian village, where you will get a chance to get a glimpse. You'll get to go visit an elementary school, so you'll get to see the kids of the village. But we will also bring you into a local home, so you will get a really good day-to-day glimpse of the life to live on the Nile. And then, of course, we get to visit, as I mentioned, the temple itself, and the temple is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We will bring you back on board for lunchtime, and then we are going to do that incredible scenic cruising along the Nile. We will disembark just a little bit later to Kom Ombo. This is another incredible temple. It's a double temple. So it was built during the Ptolemaic dynasty. And what is neat about this temple, because most temples aren't double temples. So there is the southern side of the temple. And let me just get this straight, because so the southern side of the temple is built and dedicated to the crocodile god and the god of fertility and the creator of the world, Hathor. So once you go to the southern side, you'll get to experience that. And then on the northern side of the temple, it is dedicated to the falcon god Horus. So you'll get to experience both of it. But what's neat about this temple, it is a temple that's atypical because everything in this temple is symmetrical along its main axis. So you'll get to go through, you'll get to worship all the different gods. We have on board of it too, they have this incredible, with this guide here, this is the scene of the inner face wall of the temple itself. And It represents all of the surgical instruments that were used at that time. So this is a picture of our Viking guide, and he's going through all the great details of what's located. So much of the temple has been destroyed by the Nile and earthquakes and stuff, and they've actually taken some of the stones to use on other projects, but it's definitely worth a seeing, hence why we stopped there. You'll be back on board for dinner, and then we go sailing again to Edfu. The morning is going to be great. We are going to ride in a horse-drawn carriage to the Temple of Horus. This is dedicated to the falcon-headed god of light. It was built during the Ptolemaic dynasty, and it is another really well-preserved temple. The massive wall that is fronting it is, when you go in, it's flanked by these incredible 2 falcon statues that you can go explore it. Another option that we have in this port, which for my foodies that are on, I am talking to you right now. So what is great on board of Viking is we believe food is an important part of the journey, and our chefs are dedicated to providing an enriching culinary experience on board. So what they offer sometimes is you can actually get off the ship with our chefs, our head chef, and you can go to the market with them. And this is what you can do available here in this port. Go to the market with our head chef. You will hear him explain all of the evening's planned tasting menu that we'll be doing on board, and he'll explain all the foods and all the spices he's buying. So for my foodies that's really interested in it, that is an excursion that I would highly, highly recommend. And then we are in day 11. So day 11, early this morning on day 11, you're going to wake up. We're going to disembark the ship in Luxor, and we are going to head back to Cairo. Once again, it is an inter-country flight, so we're going to head back on flight. And then we are going to check in for a 1-night hotel stay in Cairo. So when you arrive at the hotel, it will be about lunchtime. You will have a buffet lunch that's available. We offer optional excursions that will take you either to the Jewish synagogue if you didn't get a chance to see maybe the Grand Bazaar, or maybe you wanted to spend some more time exploring King Tut's treasures. You can do that as well. So that is day 11. Now, if you are like me and you always want to make the most out of your travels, we offer extension packages, and Danny can work with you. He can do the day-by-day breakdown. I'm just going to touch on them today. If you want a day-by-day breakdown, Danny will be more than happy to send you all the information on that. So we offer 2 options to do before your Viking Cairo cruise package. So the first one is Jerusalem. This is where you'll get to spend 4 incredible nights in Jerusalem. And then you will, of course, discover the history, the archaeological, all the holy sites that are located there in those 4 days before we bring you to Cairo. Or for my fans that enjoy Highclere Castle, we do 4 nights pre at London and Oxford. So this is where you will be able to retrace the steps of the world's famous Egyptologist Harold Carter and his benefactor, which is the 5th Earl of Carnarvon. And that is the Earl of Carnarvon is the man who looks after Highclere Castle. So not only will you get to go see the works of Howard Carter, you will actually get a privileged access tour of the Earl of Carnarvon's exclusive archive. So you will get a great tour of Highclere Castle too as well. Now the post extensions, after the cruise, we will offer a 4-night Jordan. So this is where you're going to see Petra, the Dead Sea, and Ammon. So once again, what's going to be included in these will be all of your hotel stays, all of your transfers. We will have a Viking guide throughout the whole tour that is there to support you. So you don't have to worry about anything. We as Viking are there to take care of you. Now, travel tips. Travel tips. I'm bringing you up, Danny, for travel tips because I think you have the best travel tips that are available, that are out there.
Well, it's interesting. Your slide, Jordana, talks about visas, and you and I had pre this presentation talked about how we like to be prepared before we actually travel. So visa in hand is always makes us more comfortable. But when we did travel to Egypt, we ended up getting our visa in the airport in Cairo, and there was no problem doing that. So that's something that I don't think you need to be too concerned about. Money, U.S. dollar is king pretty well everywhere in the world, but certainly, as your slide mentions, I think it's important for you to have some local currency. There will be all kinds of opportunities to be able to purchase things on the street, and oftentimes these small market sellers don't accept U.S. dollars, and they certainly don't accept credit cards. So it's good to have some of the local currency. Yes, toilets are in a lot of cases off the ship are primitive at best. And you will probably have somebody outside the toilet area selling you toilet paper by the square. So good idea to take, you know, a small package of Kleenex or something for that purpose. And of course, bacterial hand wipes, especially nowadays, definitely worthwhile. Clothing, it's very important for you to recognize, and this goes for a lot of places, whether you're you know, going to the Vatican, or you're going to churches, or you're going to mosques. And I guess this is directed mainly towards women, but you know, if men are wearing shorts too, that's inappropriate. So make sure you understand that you have to be appropriately covered up to be able to go into these places. Sandals, certainly open-toed sandals, definitely not a good suggestion. Good sturdy walking shoes or sneakers is definitely recommended. And layered clothing too. Evenings can get cool. Although you could, Valley of the Kings, I think when we were there, it was 42 degrees in the daytime. So bottled water was at a premium. They were making a killing on that. So dress appropriately. Very hot during the daytime, much cooler at nighttime.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's mostly the ladies that have to be very careful going into the mosques. I personally, I've been into a couple, and I've always worn t-shirts, but they still made me cover up. So for the ladies, I promise you, even if you're wearing t-shirts and maybe a long skirt, bring your own shawl or pashmina, because if they don't like the way you're dressed, they are going to give you, and I don't know how many people have worn it, some sort of itchy cotton. It's not nice to have on. So my one advice for the ladies is to pack a pashmina and bring it with you when you're going into these temples. All right, so we talked about clothing. The walking shoes are very important. You mentioned a few times there's lots of stairs, uneven grounds. Don't wear sandals, else your feet will not forgive you by the end of your tour. All right, so I quickly want to, before we finish up today, I want to talk about the ships. So we have 3 beautiful, beautiful ships on the Nile. One of them is brand new. 2 of them, one was born in 2018. What's great about the ships, what Viking is known for, is our ships have this wonderful, clean, open, airy Scandinavian design. They're very comfortable, very elegant on board. They're very spacious. All of our rooms are French balcony rooms. We have hotel-style beds. They're very spacious rooms, lots of storage and upscale experience on board the ships. Okay, before I end, I want to talk about how Viking is the thinking Spur since cruise. So remember at the beginning, I talked about we are that cruise line that if you are that person that wants to get into the most intimate nuances of the destination, Viking is the cruise line to go with. So we want to make sure everything that's happening on board of our ships is going to enrich and enhance your trip so you can fully immerse yourself. So hence why we have our Egyptologists on board. We do evenings with our chef that has incredible local food that you're going to get to cook and eat and experience as well. We bring on even more guest lecturers. We bring on local artists and performers on board of the ship. So we want to make sure you're connected with that destination in every possible way. We're not that cruise line that when you get back on the ship, it's a different experience than what you're experiencing outside of the ship. We want to make sure you're experiencing Egypt the way Egypt's meant to be experienced, but you're doing it in comfort. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is not only do we provide inspiration and enrich you on board of our ships, we even provide inspiration even before you depart on your Viking cruise. So we will provide you a comprehensive list of different movies that you can watch that are based on the area that you're traveling to. We'll provide you with a list of different books that maybe you want to read, cultural videos, all of that stuff to really get you ready and excited before going. So what I want to do today is I'm going to leave you with a couple recommendations that we offer for our Egypt itinerary. And I've been busy during this downtime because I've been watching all of our movie recommendations. So the one I want to talk about, these are my book recommendations. So my book recommendations, this is a great one before you go because it's The Complete Temples of Egypt. So this book really traces back to the beginning of each of the temples in Egypt. They talk about every aspect of the construction of the temples, the decoration, the symbolism of each of all the temples, and they have great illustrations throughout this whole book. So if you want to get a little head start, get to know the temples before you go, that is definitely one I would recommend. Now, the next one, I had to throw it in here. I'm a big Agatha Christie fan. I've read this book maybe a couple times. This is an incredible story, of course, the death on the Nile. So somebody was shot through the head while they were on a Nile trip. And of course, somebody has to figure out who was the person that killed this lady throughout the trip. So what is great is it will take you throughout Egypt, and it's just a fun story. But what's great about Agatha Christie is when she tells her stories, she actually uses descriptions of the destination that she's in right now. So you'll get a true description of what you're going to be experiencing in Egypt, but the story itself may be a little fiction. It's always good. It's always good to read a fiction once in a while, especially in these times when it's a little heavy out there. All right, so movies, Mystery of the Nile. So this is a great movie. This movie is more of a documentary movie. It talks about, it basically goes throughout the whole history of the Nile itself. It talks about all the people that settled along the Nile for centuries. And it will actually, you will navigate down the Nile and basically it films in a whole bunch of multiple locations in Egypt and also does in Ethiopia and Sudan as well. But it really talks about a lot of the Egyptian stuff that you're going to experience along the Nile. Now, the next one, I had to give something light. So Cairo time. Everybody likes a good love story. It's about an incredible love affair that catches a married woman and her husband completely off guard. They re-fell in love with each other while exploring Egypt by land and sea. So you will see this was filmed in Cairo and at Giza itself. So you'll get a little hands-on about Cairo and Egypt as well on a fun little movie. Now, if you want to continue to inspire yourself to travel virtually, we launched Viking TV. So at Viking, we provide a ton of engaging digital content because we want you to continue to explore the world from the comfort of your own home. So Viking TV, every day we do something different, new digital experiences. We interview our friends from great museums around the world we provide different inspiring presentations. For my fans, once again, my Downton Abbey fans, every Friday we're in Highclere Castle with the Cornovans. So it is a great experience. Check it out. We have a lot of stuff videotaped on there. We also have stuff on the different destinations. Now, if you can't remember how to get there, just email Danny. He'll send you the link on how to load Viking TV. Now, before I end, we go more than just Egypt with Viking. As I mentioned, we are all around the world. We're the small ship masters. Some of our additional river itineraries, if you're not interested in Egypt, we have over 20 different itineraries that will take you through maybe Portugal on the Douro, Germany on the Elbe. We added a great Christmas itinerary. So if you've ever maybe thought about maybe doing a Christmas cruise, I highly recommend it. It's magical in Europe. One thing I do want to point out is Oberammergau. So unfortunately, this was the year Oberammergau was going to be playing in Germany. And due to things happening, they had to postpone it. So they have postponed it to Oberammergau in 2022. And with Viking, we are offering 4 different itineraries that will take you to explore Oberammergau, anywhere from a 14 to a 12-day itinerary. You have a choice to add on the Oberammergau experience, and then maybe add a Rhine or a Danube cruise with that Oberammergau experience. So once again, Danny can work that out. Each of the rivers has their own distinct feel, so he will work with you. What's great about working with Danny is he knows our product, so, and he knows you as well. So if you have, like, let's say if you are a big World War II history buff, Danny's going to probably recommend the Danube to send you to Nuremberg, because that is an incredible place to experience if you're a World War II history buff. Now, if you want to learn how to make Black Forest cake and see the incredible castles along the Rhine, you might want to take a Rhine cruise. So work with Danny on that, because he'll be able to ask you the right questions to match up the right cruise to meet your needs. We don't want to put you on a cruise that's not something you want to do. So keep that in mind. It's really, really important to work with a travel agent on everything that you do. Now, what's great about working with Danny is he has an exclusive offer just for you and the rest of the people at CARP. So if you book within the next 2 weeks of Viking cruise, so it doesn't have to be Egypt. I open this up for all of our river and our ocean itineraries for you. We will give you $100 per person shipboard credit that you can use to maybe one of those additional, maybe go see the privilege access experience or do something additional that's a little joy for your vacation time. We are also offering incredible offers right now at Viking. We have our Discovery Day sale. This is great. Unfortunately, it is not on Egypt, but we have it on a lot of our other products. Sailing, they have to be, keep this in mind, you have to be departing in March to July 2021. This is on selective sailing, so Danny can figure out what sailing dates work for you if you want to enjoy some free air to Europe. Complimentary silver beverage package included as well. So this is available until the end of the month, and then we also have it available on our ocean. Now, our ocean ships, they were the ships that our river guests built. So a Viking ocean ship is not a standard ocean ship that you're used to. You won't find a casino on board of our ships. You will notice when you're on a Viking ocean cruise, we are in port almost every single day. Our ships are only 930 passengers. They are classified as a small ship. And what that allows us to do is to maneuver in those unique ports of call that those mega liners can't get into. And then all that incredible destination focused experience, the history, the lectures, our resident historians, that is what we have on board of our ships. So it truly, truly is the way destination cruising is meant to be. So we are offering, once again, this is in the Mediterranean. So we have some great deals in the Mediterranean right now. Silver beverage package, free international air, which is great. Now, if you are interested and maybe going on an ocean cruise or learning more, let Danny know. We can do one of these on Viking Ocean. I can take you through a virtual tour on one of our ocean ships, and we can do that. We can definitely set that up. So let Danny know after we're done here, and he will arrange with me. So I would like to personally thank you all for joining us. Thanks for joining. I know it's the middle of the night, dinner time, and you took the time out of your busy day. So thank you so much. I'm bringing back Danny on. He wants to close up with a couple words, and we'll say goodbye.
I did want to talk just a little bit more about the Egypt experience. I recall being in one of the temples, I think it was Luxor, where a temple guard came over to me. I was in a group of 5 people, and he beckoned me over, didn't speak any English. And so I was out in the midst of everybody, and he brought me over to a lintel, which is it's like the top of a doorway, but it was about 3 feet off the ground, and he just kind of pointed underneath it. And I got down on my knees and looked, and underneath it was a painted thunderbird in all its full glory. I had to get down on my back to take a picture of it. But he did something then that I warn all my clients not to ever do. He took me to different parts of the temple, and each one got me further and further away away from my group, and I was saying, oh no, I'm not supposed to do this. But he showed me some absolutely fantastic spots that we would never have found on our own, and all he wanted was a tip in US dollars at the end. So I think that would have been a great experience if I had been able to get my group of 4 or 5 people over with me while we were doing that. If you can get a papyrus painting, we had one done with all our names on it. Fabulous that they're now hanging in my living room, and every day I look at it reminds me of our Egypt trip. And the carvings, unbelievable. I saw, you know, detailed carvings of the falcon god, which is a human body with a falcon head on it. Also the crocodile god, human body with the crocodile head on it. I mean, the artwork was just absolutely phenomenal. So it's a place, top trip of my life. I you know, would love to go back, and probably would if I had an opportunity. So just a note before concluding, next week, same time, of course, we have our CARP AlmonTravel presentations every Tuesday at 6:30. Next week, we'll be learning about a Pandao, a company named Pandao River Cruise in Asia, specifically in the northern district of Vietnam. It's a cruise land tour that my wife and I truly enjoyed as a cultural experience. So would urge you to go to the CARP Travel website, check out some of the presentations. Very soon we'll have another Viking presentation on ocean cruises. We're booked up now until roughly the middle of January. So there's lots to see and do and learn about. I would like to take this time to thank Jordana very much for this very enlightening tour of the Nile and of Egypt. It's one of my favorite places, and you did a great job in your slideshow. Did an absolutely great job of illuminating it for me, and I'm sure for all our viewers. Thank you very much, Jordana.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Should we open up maybe if there's any questions before we hang up, or? We do have some people on the line.
Yeah, if they have any questions, certainly, you know.
If there's any questions, you can put it in the question and answer box. If not, we'll hang up in a minute here. And if you're one of those people like myself that thinks about a question 10 minutes after the show, just email Danny. He's there for you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so we have no questions. So good night, everybody. Thanks, Danny, for having me.
Thank you, Jordana.